Tonight, I will teach you how to feel it. I will show you the simple divine secret behind every miracle, every manifestation, every transformation that has ever taken place in the life of man. O woman, you do not need more power, for the power is already within you. You do not need more time, for time is only the servant of your inner conviction. You do not even need to know how it will come to pass, for the bridge of incidents will form itself the moment you feel it as real. What you need is to feel it. Feel what? The wish fulfilled. Most men and women pray. They hope, they beg, they wait, but few ever feel. To feel is to become. To feel is to fuse your inner world with the outer one. The outer responds to the inner, and the inner is ruled by feeling. God is not a faraway being in the sky. God is your own wonderful human imagination. When you learn how to feel something as though it were already so, you awaken God within, and God responds to his own nature. God creates by imagining, and when he imagines lovingly, he creates life, beauty, abundance, joy. So must you. You are not separate from the Creator. You are the Creator, asleep to your own power. But tonight, I intend to awaken you. I have said it many times. The world is yourself pushed out. What you believe, what you accept as true, what you feel with conviction, that is what hardens into fact. The law is always working, always producing what you are in the depth of your soul. If your life is filled with lack, you are feeling lack. If your life overflows with blessings, you are feeling blessed. The world cannot help but mirror back to you the vibration, the state, the assumption you carry in your being. Therefore, I say again, I will teach you how to feel it. Let us now make this very practical. Suppose you desire wealth. You do not need to look to the stock market, to the government, to some external source. All you need is to enter the state of wealth within. You do this by feeling wealthy, not hoping to be wealthy. No, not acting as if wealth might someday come, but assuming now, with full inner conviction, that you are already the one you desire to be. How would you walk if you had all the wealth you desired? How would you speak? How would you greet your friends? How would you fall asleep at night? What would you think about as you awoke each morning? Ask yourself these questions sincerely, and you will begin to construct a new state of consciousness. And that state, once occupied in feeling, will produce its corresponding reality. Let me remind you, this is not make-believe. This is not fantasy, this is creation. You are imagining your world into being, just as God imagined this entire universe into existence. We are told in Scripture, God calleth those things which be not as though they were. That is the very secret I am giving to you now. You must call forth the thing you want as though it already existed, and you must feel it to be true. Do not concern yourself with the facts of life. They are only the shadow of your former state. They will fade away when you no longer give them attention. All that matters is the feeling. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not a mere fleeting emotion. It is a deep, abiding inner knowing. When you feel it, truly feel it, something shifts. Your breathing changes. Your posture shifts. You begin to see with new eyes. You are no longer a beggar asking for change. You are a creator declaring it is done. From that moment, your world must reassemble itself to reflect the new you, and it will. Not by force, not by willpower, but by the effortless divine operation of law. Imagine then that you are already where you want to be. Close your eyes and feel into that scene. Do not just visualize it, inhabit it. Make it real in your imagination. Hear the sounds you would hear. Touch the objects you would touch. Breathe in the air of that new world. Let every sense participate in the feeling of being already there. And then, let go. Fall asleep in that state. Carry it with you throughout the day. Return to it whenever doubt arises. And above all, do not contradict it with worry, fear, or complaint. Remain faithful to the feeling, and it will become fact. Now let me tell you a story. A woman once came to me, desperate to be reunited with her estranged husband. She had tried everything: letters, phone calls, pleading. Nothing worked. I said to her, "Do you still love him?" She said yes. Then assume he loves you too, and that you are already together. She looked at me as if I had asked her to climb Mount Everest. But I told her, just tonight, before sleep, imagine him holding you, telling you he loves you. Feel it as though it were happening now. She did it, though reluctantly. The next week, he called her. By the end of the month, they were back together. What changed? Not him. Her feeling changed. She moved into a new state, and the world mirrored it. Another man came to me, longing for a better job. He felt unworthy, overlooked, stuck. I said, "You are not stuck. You are only stuck in your feeling." I instructed him to construct a scene that would imply his desire had already been fulfilled. He imagined shaking the hand of a new employer, hearing the words, "You're hired," and feeling the pride of accomplishment. Every night, he entered that scene. Within weeks, a company he had never even contacted reached out with an offer, double the salary. What changed? Not the world. His feeling changed. He stopped being the man who waited, and became the man who had. I tell you again, if you can feel it, you can manifest it. You do not need to manipulate people, force circumstances, or wait for some perfect alignment of stars. You simply need to enter the state of the wish fulfilled, and remain there. The world will conform, for it always does. You are the operant power. Nothing comes into your world but what you assume and accept as true. And assumption, once felt as fact, becomes fact. This is the law. This is the teaching of all the great mystics, clothed in different words, but pointing to the same truth. You are creating reality by what you feel to be true about yourself, about others, about life itself. So choose wisely and feel deliberately. If you want love, feel loved. Do not wait for someone to love you. Be the one who feels love now. Imagine what it feels like to be cherished, valued, adored. Walk in that feeling. Speak from that place. Love will come, for you have become the vibration of love itself. If you want health, feel healthy. Not someday, now. Feel the joy of vitality. Feel the ease in your body. Imagine the doctor saying, "All is well." Hear it, believe it, feel it. If you want freedom, feel free. Not in some distant future, but in this very moment. Break the chains in your mind, and your outer world will reflect your inner liberation. You are not a victim of fate. You are not subject to chance. You are the master, the chooser, the one who brings heaven or hell into being by your feeling. All the power of the universe is compressed within your own consciousness, and the gateway to its expression is feeling. Let us return to Scripture again. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It does not say, as a man thinks in his head. It says heart, which is the symbol of feeling. You may say with your lips, "I am wealthy," but if in your heart you feel poor, it is the feeling that will dominate. You must bring the word and the feeling into alignment. Speak what you feel, and feel what you speak. Only then do you create from truth. Now the question arises, but what if I feel fear? What if I feel doubt? Do not resist it. Acknowledge it, and then shift. Feelings are not enemies. They are messengers. If you feel fear, it means you are imagining something you do not want. So stop. Withdraw your attention from that scene, and construct a new one. Enter the feeling of safety, of confidence, of calm. Persist in that. Repetition will solidify the new state. And remember, no feeling lasts unless you sustain it. Sustain only what you want. This is not hard work. In fact, it is the most effortless of all. You are always feeling something. The question is, are you feeling deliberately or by default? Most people feel according to what the outer world tells them. But the magician, the mystic, the true creator, feels according to what they desire, regardless of appearances. And that is why they rise above the world and shape it. So tonight I urge you to begin. Do not wait. Choose one desire, just one, and feel it as though it were already so. Create a scene that implies its fulfillment. Let it be short and vivid. Enter it fully. Make it your home in imagination. Return to it again and again. Sleep in it. Walk in it. Think from it. And do not let the outer world dissuade you. It is only catching up. This is your birthright. This is the secret Jesus taught when he said, "Whatsoever ye desire, believe that ye have received it, and ye shall have it." Believe that you have received it, not that you will, that you have. And belief in its purest form is feeling. I will teach you how to feel it, because feeling is the secret, not action. not strategy, not effort. Feeling, the moment you feel the state of your desire as real, the moment you inwardly consent to its truth, it must come to pass, not by might, not by force, but by the inner certainty of being. Go now, and feel deliberately, feel powerfully, feel as though you already are the one you want to be, and watch the world rearrange itself, in perfect harmony with your inner state. You may wake tomorrow, and see no sign, no evidence of what you have felt the night before, and you may be tempted to say, it didn't work. But I tell you, never judge by appearances. The seed has already been sown, and what you now see is merely the lingering effect of your old state. Continue to feel the new reality. Let it take root. Persist in the assumption, not with strain, not with effort, but with quiet confidence, with that deep knowing that what you feel with conviction is law to your world. You must understand that the bridge of incidents, those mysterious, often untraceable paths that lead you from your present world to the one you have felt, are not yours to construct. Do not concern yourself with the how. You are not called to build the bridge. You are called to walk across it once it appears. And it will appear, not by your doing, but by the law that answers the feeling. What seems random, accidental, or coincidental will reveal itself, in hindsight, to be divinely orchestrated. But you must first claim the end. Feel it, own it, assume it. Each time you return to the old feeling of lack, of doubt, of fear, you reinforce that former state. But if you discipline yourself, even gently, to remain faithful to the desired state, you will notice a subtle change. You'll begin to feel different, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. And when you change, the world must follow. The law is not partial. It does not fail. It simply responds to the predominant feeling within you. You see, the imagination is not some whimsical fantasy land. It is the workshop of God. It is where reality begins. And you are the craftsman, the dreamer of dreams. But dreams do not come true because you simply wish them to. They come true because you dare to feel them as real. When you do this, you move from mere desiring into assuming, from hoping into knowing, from imagining into creating. This is the sacred alchemy of consciousness, the transmutation of invisible substance into visible form. I urge you, in your quiet moments, especially before you sleep, to withdraw from the world of facts and enter the world of assumption. Let the body relax, let the mind grow still, and let your attention be gently directed toward that which you wish to be, not with struggle, not with analysis, but with ease. Imagine a scene that would take place after your desire is fulfilled. Not the process, only the result. If it is marriage you want, see the ring on your finger. If it is success, feel the congratulations. If it is health, sense the vitality in your limbs. Do not overthink it. Do not make it complicated. Let it be simple, natural, alive. And most of all, feel it. This practice is not reserved for the few. It is not some mystical gift given to saints or sages. It is the right and ability of every man, woman, and child. You were born with this power. You are using it now, whether you realize it or not. Every state you occupy is producing its harvest. So choose your state by choosing your feeling. What you feel yourself to be is what you become. You may say, but I don't know how to sustain the feeling. I say practice. Like a musician training the ear or an athlete training the body, you must train your soul to dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled. Begin with short moments. A few minutes here, a few minutes there. Return to it often. In time, it will become your dwelling place. It will feel more real than the world outside. And when it does, the world outside will catch up. You are not here to conform to the world. You are here to transform it. But you cannot transform anything while feeling yourself a victim of circumstance. You must rise inwardly. You must ascend the ladder of being through feeling. Each rung is a new state. Each state brings new experiences. You do not change the world by force. You change yourself, and the world reflects your change. When I tell you to feel the wish fulfilled, I am asking you to become the person who already possesses what you desire. To think from it, to feel from it, to move through the world as though it were already yours. Not to pretend, not to fake, but to embody it with sincerity and faith. When you do this, you will find that your desires are not something you must chase. They are drawn to you, for you have become their embodiment. You must also learn the art of detachment. Not detachment from desire, but from outcome. Once you have felt it real, once you have accepted the state, do not strain for results. Let the feeling rest within you like a seed in the earth. Trust the law. Let life flow. Know that the manifestation is already in motion. You need not dig up the seed to check if it's growing. Your job is to feel it real, and then to live your life with the quiet confidence that it must come to pass. Many of you are waiting for a sign to believe, but the sign comes after the belief. First you believe through feeling, and then the sign appears. The feeling is the cause, the sign is the effect. To reverse this is to wait forever. So begin within. Begin now. Your world is your mirror. You do not see what is. You see who you are. Change who you are in feeling, and what you see will change automatically. A fearful person sees threats. A joyful person sees blessings. A loving person sees beauty. The lens is internal. Adjust it, and the picture adjusts itself. In the stillness of your mind, begin to hear the words you wish to hear. Imagine the sounds, the voices, the laughter that would surround your fulfilled desire. Let it be vivid. Let it be detailed. Let it be emotionally rich. Do not simply think it, feel it. Let the scene impress itself upon your soul. Then let it go. Trust that the impression will produce its expression. Your feelings are prayers, not the words you utter with your lips, but the feelings you carry in your heart. These are your true invocations, and they are always answered according to their nature. If your prayer is one of lack, you receive more lack. If it is one of fulfillment, you receive fulfillment. So bless your desire by feeling it is already done. Give thanks for it, not in advance of its arrival, but in recognition that it is already yours. Do not confuse effort with effectiveness. It is not struggle that brings results. It is surrender to the feeling. It is the quiet, confident assumption that what you have imagined is already a fact in your world. When you no longer need to force it, when you no longer need to ask if it's working, that is when it is working. That is when it begins to move from the unseen into the seen. The great secret is this: reality is not created by outer action but by inner conviction. What you are convinced of, deep in your bones, in your breath, in your heart, is what you manifest. And conviction comes from feeling. You cannot be convinced of something and not feel it. The two are inseparable. So if you wish to change your world, you must first change your conviction. And you do that through feeling. Now if you say, "But I've tried and it didn't work," I ask you, what did you feel? Did you feel the lack of it? Or did you feel the joy of already having it? You cannot deceive the law. It gives you not what you want, but what you are in consciousness. You must be honest with yourself. Trace your feelings. Examine your reactions. What are you truly accepting as real? That is your state, and that is what must change. So let us not just talk about this. Let us do it. Close your eyes even now, and let yourself drift into the end. What do you want? What do you long for? Feel it now. Step into the scene that implies it is done. Hear the words, see the faces, sense the atmosphere. Now feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude of already being there. Let it fill your being. Let it saturate your body. This is not fantasy. This is creation. You are doing it now. You are planting the seed, and the harvest is inevitable. Remain in that state. Let nothing shake you. Let no outer appearance tempt you back into doubt. You are the one with the power. You are the one who imagines. You are the one who feels. And because you feel it, it must be. Not someday, not maybe, but surely, certainly, lawfully. As you continue to dwell in that feeling, a strange and beautiful thing happens. You begin to forget the old state. It no longer fits. It no longer feels like home. You have moved inwardly, and the outer must move with you. What once felt impossible begins to feel natural. What once seemed distant becomes familiar. And then one day, without effort, without striving, you look around and realize it is done. In that moment, you don't celebrate because something external has changed. You celebrate because the outer has finally caught up with what you've known all along. The world simply reflects your sustained inner state. And when that state becomes your dwelling place, reality bends to meet it. The phone call comes. The opportunity presents itself. The person shows up. Not because you chased them down, but because you changed who you were in consciousness. And they had no choice but to respond to the new vibration you radiated. You must now realize that all creation is finished. The moment you desire a thing, it already exists. It exists in the invisible, in that higher realm of imagination and feeling. You are not creating something from nothing, you are selecting from the infinite possibilities already prepared for you. Just as a radio does not create music, but simply tunes into a frequency, you are tuning into the reality you desire by way of your inner state. When you change the frequency, the song changes, and the frequency is your feeling. So if you persist in the feeling of already being what you want to be, you are tuning into the experience of that state. The longer you dwell in that feeling, the more naturally it begins to express itself through you. You no longer need to remind yourself of what you want, you have become it. And that becoming is what moves the unseen into the seen. You may not realize how powerful your acceptance is. The very moment you accept something as true within yourself, you set in motion a chain of events that is far beyond your understanding. A whisper in the heart becomes a conversation on the street. A feeling in your soul becomes a change in your bank account. A moment of gratitude in the silence becomes a healed relationship. But the outer event is never the cause. It is the echo. The origin is always within. Do not be disheartened when the world does not change instantly. It is not meant to. The world is slow, dense, heavy. It takes time to catch up with what you feel instantly. That is why you must live by inner vision, not outer sight. You are not called to observe, you are called to assume. And that assumption must be felt as real, so deeply, so naturally, that you cannot help but live from it, speak from it, and act as though it were already true. Many of you are tempted to argue with the current facts of your life. But facts are not truth. They are merely reflections of previous feelings, hardened into visible form. If you argue with the fact, you remain in bondage to the past. But if you disregard appearances and claim the truth of your new state, you rise above the world and call forth a higher order of reality. And that truth is felt, not seen. The more you feel from the end, the more the world must yield to your inner conviction. Circumstances will shift. People will behave differently. Opportunities will unfold with such precision that you will know, without a doubt, that something greater is guiding it all. That greater something is your own imagination, aligned with your feeling. And when those two are in harmony, nothing is impossible to you. What will you choose to feel tonight? Not what will you wish for, not what will you hope to see, but what will you feel as real in your heart? That is the beginning of your creation. That is the seed of your new world. And though no man may see it, though no sign may yet appear, rest assured, it is done. The feeling is the evidence. The assumption is the cause. And the world must bow to it, for it has no choice but to follow the inner blueprint you have laid down. Do not wait for others to agree with you. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. Do not wait for the perfect conditions to begin. You begin now with feeling. You begin now with imagination. You begin now by entering into the state of the wish fulfilled. And once you have entered, remain there. Do not visit, live there. Let it be your new identity, your new home, your new reality. And the old world will pass away, and all things shall be made new. You are not learning how to create. You are learning how to feel, for the feeling is the creation. When you feel a thing deeply enough, consistently enough, the creation is complete. The delay you experience is not a delay in the creation, it is a delay in your recognition. You are waiting to see it before you believe it. But the law demands that you believe it, feel it, before you see it. So feel with intention, feel with clarity, feel with love. If your desire does not thrill you in feeling, it will not move the law into action. Let it come alive within you. Let the emotion flood your being. Let the joy, the peace, the excitement of already having it become the atmosphere of your soul. And in that atmosphere, miracles grow. Do not fear the delay. It is only the space between inner knowing and outer unfolding. It is the gap between seed and harvest. But the harvest is sure, if the seed is real. And the seed is the feeling, not the fleeting wish or the momentary thought, but the sustained assumption, felt as fact. Every great life, every success story, every healing, every breakthrough began with a man or woman who dared to feel something new, something greater, something already done. And they held to that feeling, even when the world told them otherwise. They were not greater than you. They were not more gifted or more deserving. They were simply more faithful to the feeling. And that faith became substance. That feeling became fact. You must now do the same. Take the power back from the world and return it to where it always belonged, in you. You are not subject to the world. The world is subject to you, and you rule it through your feeling. So feel with intention, feel with discipline, feel with love. For what you feel you become, and what you become, you inevitably see. So I leave you with this eternal truth. Nothing is more powerful than your feeling. Not circumstance, not logic, not the opinions of others. If you would only dare to feel your wish fulfilled, persist in it, surrender to it, embody it, then no force on earth could stop its manifestation. You are not here to beg from life, you are here to command it. Not through effort or force, but through the silent authority of feeling. That feeling is your prayer, your seed, your creation. And when you honor it with belief, when you live from it, as though it were already so, the universe must obey. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of law. So feel it now, feel it deeply, and never forget, the world will always reflect what you dare to feel as true. Do nothing and get everything. It sounds like a paradox to the logical mind, but it is the truth of spiritual law. You've been taught that effort brings reward, that toil brings fruit, that the harder you push, the more you get. But in the spiritual realm, the opposite is often true. When you align with the infinite within you, when you rest in the assumption that your desire is already yours, when you sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, then you do nothing and everything is done for you. The secret lies not in force, but in faith. Not in striving, but in stillness. You must learn to be still and know that you are God. Not a God apart, but the very creative power of the universe individualized in you. Your imagination is the creator, and sleep is the sacred temple where imagination takes root. Night after night, you are given the opportunity to reshape your world, not through action, but through assumption. And assumption, when persisted in, hardens into fact. Let me tell you, there is no power outside of consciousness. Nothing acts independently of the state of mind in which you dwell. If your life appears chaotic, it is because your inner conversations are disordered. If your world is full of lack, it is because your internal state is one of need and not fulfillment. Change your inner world, and your outer world will follow. The law is always working, whether you believe in it or not. The law does not respond to effort, it responds to belief, to feeling, to assumption, and the most powerful way to change your assumption is through sleep. When you lay your body down to rest, the conscious mind surrenders its grip. The gatekeeper stands aside, and the subconscious, that fertile field of infinite power, becomes receptive to your seeds. Whatever impression you give it at that moment before sleep, it will take and multiply. That impression will become the pattern of your waking world. This is not fantasy, this is law. You have heard it said, as within, so without. That is not poetry, it is principle. The world is yourself pushed out. It is your mirror. And just as you do not change your reflection by scolding the mirror, you do not change your life by struggling with circumstances, you change your reflection by changing your expression. You change your world by changing your assumption. And the most effective time to do this is in that golden moment between wakefulness and sleep. Do nothing and yet receive everything. Why? Because the doing is not done by your hands, but by your mind. When you go to sleep feeling rich, even if your bank account is empty, the subconscious accepts that feeling as truth. It does not argue. It does not reason. It simply accepts and expresses. If you feel wealthy, you will become wealthy. If you feel loved, you will attract love. If you feel healthy, your body will begin to conform. The law knows no exceptions. It is impersonal, precise, and perfect. You must learn to fall asleep in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. That is the entire secret. Feel it real. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. As you lay in your bed tonight, do not think of the things you lack. Do not rehearse your fears. Do not replay the day's failures. Instead, construct a scene, just a simple scene, that would imply your desire is already a fact. Make it vivid, make it real, make it now, and repeat it in your mind until it lulls you into sleep. Let sleep overtake you, while the scene still lives in your imagination. That is the moment of conception. You do not need to work harder. You do not need to manipulate people or conditions. You do not need to beg, plead, or hustle. You need only to assume. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and sleep. That is the holy act of creation. The whole vast world is yourself pushed out, and it bends to your inner state like a shadow bends to the body. The external is always subordinate to the internal, and the internal can be shaped in the silence of your own mind. You have within you the power to call forth anything, but that power does not respond to effort, it responds to belief. It responds to stillness, it responds to the imaginal act performed in faith. When you are anxious, you block the flow. When you are desperate, you repel what you desire. But when you are calm, confident, and at rest, when you feel it real and release it to the subconscious with trust, then all things begin to rearrange themselves to reflect that inner state. Let me remind you again, you do nothing, and yet everything is done. This is not passivity. It is spiritual activity of the highest order. You are not lazy, you are faithful, you are not idle, you are intentional, you are assuming the state and allowing the universe to reflect it. That is the art of creation. That is the power that moves mountains. You were told, when you pray, believe that you have received it, and you will. Do you see the formula? Not believe that you might receive. Not believe that you'll someday get it. But believe that you have received. It is already done. And from that knowing, from that internal certainty, you fall asleep. Not hoping, but knowing. Not wanting, but having. That is the secret. That is the divine sleep meditation. The ancients called it entering the Sabbath. The Sabbath is not a day, it is a state. It is the rest that comes after creation. It is the feeling of completion. When you enter the Sabbath, you cease all mental effort. You cease all mental argument. You rest, not because you are tired, but because you know it is done. And you allow that knowing to carry you into sleep. That is when the seed is sown. That is when the magic begins. Do not underestimate the power of this practice. I have seen lives change overnight through this single act. I have seen debts vanish, relationships restored, bodies healed, all by the power of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and sleeping in that state. It is not theory, it is experience. The moment you dare to assume, you begin to move mountains, and yet you do nothing. There is no need to force anything. The assumption, once accepted by the subconscious, will find expression. It will do all the work. It will orchestrate the right meetings, the perfect opportunities, the unforeseen windfalls. It will bring people and places and events together in the most mysterious ways. You need not know how. You need only to feel it real. Many of you try to figure it out. You worry about the details. You want to control the unfolding, but that is not your job. Your job is to define the end and rest in it. To dwell in the state until it feels like home. To sleep in the knowing that what you have imagined is already yours. That is all. The how is not your concern. The law will take care of the how. Your work is in the assumption. Night after night, practice this. Let your last thoughts before sleep be thoughts of fulfillment. Let your final emotion be one of gratitude. Not for what is coming, but for what already is. Let that be your signal to the subconscious, and do not be fooled by appearances. The world may look unchanged, but know this, once impressed, the subconscious must express. The world must conform. You may feel like nothing is happening, but I tell you, everything is happening. Beneath the surface, the seed is germinating. The tree does not sprout the moment the seed is planted, but the seed is alive, and in due time it will push through the soil and bear fruit. Your assumption is the seed. Your faith is the water. Your rest is the sunlight. And sleep is the sacred ground. Many will hear these words and dismiss them. They will say, it cannot be this simple. But truth is always simple. The greatest truths are not complicated. They are clear and direct. Assume, sleep, receive. That is the formula. That is the divine triad. That is the path to effortless manifestation. You must become as a child. Children do not doubt. They believe, they pretend. They feel real. They imagine and then act as though it were true. And what does Scripture say? Unless you become as little children, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom is your fulfilled desire. And the way to enter it is through belief, through imagination, through restful assumption. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, ask yourself, what would I feel if I already had it? How would I breathe? move, think, and then feel that. Feel it not just as a thought, but as a mood. Let that mood be the pillow on which you rest your head. Let that feeling carry you into the depths of slumber, and trust that the law is working. You are not here to struggle. You are here to create. You are not here to chase. You are here to attract. You are not here to beg. You are here to command. But that command is silent. It is internal. It is imaginative. That is the great mystery. That is the quiet power. And it is available to you now. When you finally understand that you are the operant power, that nothing happens to you but through you, then you will stop trying and start assuming. You will stop worrying and start imagining. You will stop begging and start believing. And in that state of belief, you will rest. And in that rest, you will receive. So I say to you again, do nothing and get everything. Not because you are idle, but because you are aligned. Not because you are passive, but because you are present. The universe responds not to effort, but to energy. And the energy of assumption, held in faith, released in sleep, is the most creative force in existence. The world you see is the echo of what you feel. Change your feeling, and you change the echo. Tonight, as you lay your head to sleep, feel it real. Become the version of you who already has it. Dwell in that state, and sleep, because in that sacred sleep, your entire world will begin to change. Feel it with every fiber of your being, not as a fleeting thought, not as a mere wish, but as an emotional certainty that runs deep into your bones. Let your body relax under the weight of fulfilled desire. Let your heart beat with the rhythm of accomplishment. Let your breath match the peace of someone who already has everything they've asked for. This is not pretending. This is creating. The moment you feel it real, the universe begins to respond. You are not asking the world for permission. You are declaring your reality to consciousness itself. The great secret is that you are not separate from the thing you desire. You are it. You are already one with it in imagination. And imagination is the only reality. The things you see with your eyes are only shadows of that inner state. You don't wait for things to change. You change within, and the outer rearranges automatically. You are the cause, not the effect. And sleep is the bridge between what is imagined and what is manifested. If you understood just how powerful your sleep is, you would never again go to bed with thoughts of doubt or fear. You would never again entertain limitation in that sacred moment before unconsciousness. Because it is in that moment, in that space between waking and dreaming, that you pass the seed into the soil of your subconscious. And the subconscious never forgets. It never fails. It always brings forth what is planted. There is no greater technique than this. Lie down and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Nothing more is required. No effort. No striving. Only a quiet confidence that what you feel now is what will become. When you relax into the scene, when you let go of needing to know how or when, you open the door, and all things begin to flow to you, not by effort, but by the law. This law is impersonal. It does not favor one person over another. It does not require struggle, status, or sacrifice. It requires only belief. It requires only a disciplined imagination, a willingness to persist in the assumption night after night, regardless of what the senses report. Do not be swayed by what you see. Let your inner world be more real to you than anything on the outside. Because the outer world is always a reflection, it is the mirror, not the source. If you find yourself doubting, gently return to the feeling, that's all. You are not failing. You are simply learning. This is the art of conscious creation. You assume, you feel, and you rest. It is not your job to force it into being. It is your job to believe. And belief is a quiet power, most potent when the body is still and the mind is focused. Do not let your imagination wander into fear. Discipline it gently. Turn your mind again and again to the scene that implies your desire is already yours. And soon it will no longer feel like imagination. It will feel like memory. When it feels natural, when it feels familiar, it is ready to be expressed. And sleep is the doorway. So what will you imagine tonight? What dream will you let your subconscious incubate while you do nothing? Will you replay the old story, the struggle, the lack, the loneliness, Or will you write a new script? Will you imagine yourself celebrated, wealthy, healthy, joyful? Will you rest in the knowing that the universe rearranges itself to reflect your inner state? You cannot serve two masters. You cannot go to sleep in fear and expect to wake in joy. You cannot rehearse failure and expect success. You must be bold enough to assume what your senses deny. You must be faithful enough to feel it as real before it becomes fact. That is the secret. That is the magic. That is the path of least resistance and the gateway to miracles. Do not underestimate the momentum that builds when you repeat this night after night. The first time you may feel resistance. The second night you may feel doubt. But continue. Persist. Fall asleep again and again in the assumption of your fulfilled desire, and eventually it will no longer feel like a performance. It will feel like your truth. And the world must respond. Because the world is your mirror. There is nothing more sacred than this moment before sleep. It is your meeting place with God. It is where you drop the masks of the day and return to your creative power. It is where your imagination speaks the word and the word becomes flesh. This is not mythology. This is metaphysics. The law is exact, and your role is simple. Assume, feel, sleep. If you want to change your life, change the way you sleep. Do not let the day drag into the night. Let the night be a new beginning. Let sleep be a rehearsal for the life you want to live. Make your bed a temple. Let your pillow be the throne of fulfilled desire. Close your eyes not in escape, but in creation. Let your dreams be seeds, not distractions. Because in that stillness, in that surrender, all things are made new. You do not need to know how the world will change. You do not need to make it happen. You only need to go to sleep with a new vision, a new feeling, a new inner state, and the rest will unfold in ways you could never predict. The subconscious has means you know not of. It can open doors where there were only walls. It can part the sea of circumstance, but only when you trust it, only when you feel the end. What would it feel like to be the person who already has the life you want? That is the question. Ask it every night, and let the answer be your lullaby. Let the feeling of that answer be the last thing you carry into your sleep. Because that feeling is a command. That assumption is a decree. And your subconscious is always listening. You must begin to take your inner world seriously. More seriously than anything on the outside. Because the inner creates the outer. There is no exception. What you feel dominantly, you live. What you imagine persistently, you become. It is not up to someone else. It is not dependent on time or effort. It is all within you now. The beauty of it all is that you do not have to fight for it. You do not have to beg. You do not have to struggle. You only need to rest. Not rest in defeat, but rest in victory. Not sleep in confusion, but sleep in clarity. You fall asleep in the answer, and the question disappears. You fall asleep in the feeling, and the fact appears. So tonight, and every night, do this one thing. Choose your desire, assume it is done, feel it with conviction, and surrender it to sleep. Let go of the need to make it happen. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the how. Simply fall asleep knowing that what you imagined has already begun. That your desire is already moving toward you. Not by force, but by faith. Not through action but through alignment. You see, there is a divine intelligence that takes over the moment you relinquish control. The moment you stop trying to make it happen, and instead accept that it is already done in consciousness. You activate the greater power within. This power does not require you to sweat, struggle, or sacrifice. It only requires your willingness to surrender to the unseen, to live from the unseen, and to believe in the unseen more than you believe in what you currently see. When you go to sleep tonight, do not review your problems. Do not replay your frustrations. That is how you fertilize the weeds. Instead, plant the seed of your ideal reality. See it, feel it, own it. The mind may wander, and that is natural. But bring it back gently, lovingly. Focus again on the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Not the image alone, but the emotion it brings. The relief, the gratitude, the peace. Let that be your resting place. The deeper you go into sleep, the more permeable the boundary between conscious and subconscious becomes. In that in-between, you are both the dreamer and the creator.
You hold the brush and the canvas. Do not squander that moment painting old pictures. Create new ones, and believe in them more than you believe in the day's limitations. Because the subconscious, once impressed, must express. That is its law. It does not argue, it does not judge, it simply accepts and delivers. Think of it like this. Your imagination is the blueprint. Your feeling is the energy, and sleep is the cement that fixes the pattern into the foundation of your being. Whatever is fixed there must come to pass. So tonight, before you close your eyes, ask yourself, what do I want to be true? And when the answer comes, don't think about it. Feel it. Become it in mind. Live it in heart. Let that assumption wrap you like a blanket. And let sleep seal it in. Do not be concerned if things do not change immediately. That is not your role. Time is simply the delay between assumption and realization. But the assumption must come first. Persist in it. Let each night be a rehearsal of your new reality. And soon the lines between dream and waking life will blur. You will wake up into your assumption. You will step into your imagined life. Not because you worked harder, but because you surrendered more deeply. This is not about passivity. This is about mastery. This is not laziness. This is alignment. To do nothing and get everything means you have mastered the art of inner causation. You have stopped reacting and started creating. You no longer live by what the world shows you. You show the world what to reflect by how you feel and think within. You become untouchable, unshakable, because your reality no longer depends on appearances. It flows from conviction. The conviction that your imagination is the only true reality. And when you carry that conviction into sleep, you change the very trajectory of your life. You tap into the power that created the universe. The same power that shapes galaxies responds to your assumptions. That is how powerful you are. You were never meant to force your life into shape. You were meant to imagine it into being. Every desire you have is a seed planted by God. And your imagination is the water. Your feeling is the sunlight. Your sleep is the soil. Do not doubt the process. Tend to your garden with faith, and in due season, you will harvest all that you have planted. Not by striving, but by resting. Not by chasing, but by assuming and receiving. Let go of the idea that hard work is the only path. Let go of the belief that success must come through struggle. Those are old stories, old assumptions, and as long as you believe them, they will continue to be true for you. But you can change them tonight. You can rewrite the script. You can fall asleep in the knowing that life is easy, that blessings flow to you, that you are worthy of abundance. And if you persist, that will become your new truth. Understand this. What you assume in the stillness of sleep is more powerful than what you declare in the noise of the day. Your conscious affirmations are only effective if they match your inner feeling. You can say, I am rich all day long. But if you feel lack at night, you are impressing lack upon the subconscious. So focus on the feeling. Let it be real. Let it be natural. That is the true prayer. The prayer of feeling. The silent assumption. The effortless faith. What happens next is not your concern. That's the beauty of this. You do not need to be the builder. You are the architect. The builder is your subconscious mind. And it never fails. It brings forth what it is fed. So give it the best nourishment. Give it visions of joy, of abundance, of love. And then step back. Relax. Let the process unfold. Do not interfere with doubt. Do not dig up the seed to see if it's growing. Trust the unseen. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are becoming one. Each night as you fall asleep in the assumption of your fulfilled desire, you are creating new patterns of thought, new neural pathways, new energetic signatures. And those patterns draw experiences to you like a magnet. That's the real law of attraction. It's not your desire that attracts. It's your state of being. And your state is shaped most powerfully in sleep. So take this seriously. Make it your nightly ritual. Turn off the noise. Dim the lights. Lay down not as a victim of circumstance, but as a master of creation. Choose your scene. Enter it. Feel it. Fall asleep inside it. And let the universe do the rest. Let the law work for you while you rest in its promise. You are not alone in this. The entire cosmos moves to fulfill your assumption once it is felt as real. You do not need permission to live the life you dream of. You only need to accept it as yours. Now, in imagination, before the world says yes, you must say yes within. And sleep is the perfect time to do it. When resistance is low, when the conscious mind is quiet, when the soul is open, that's when the miracles are planted. That's when destinies are rewritten. And so let it be easy. Let it be light. Let it be joyful. You do not have to carry the world on your shoulders. You only need to carry the feeling of your fulfilled desire into the stillness of sleep. That is your sacred task. That is your divine responsibility. And the reward is beyond anything the world can offer. It is peace. It is power. It is the effortless unfolding of everything you have ever desired. So tonight, as you lay your head to rest, remember this simple but eternal truth. You do not need to chase, beg, or force your dreams into being. You are the dreamer. And dreaming creates reality. What you accept as true in the silence of sleep becomes fact in the light of day. This is not fantasy. It is law. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. And trust the unseen power that responds with mathematical certainty. Let go of the how. Let go of the when. And simply fall asleep in the knowing that it is done. For he who can feel it real in the stillness of the night will awaken to its manifestation in the brilliance of the day. Do nothing. And receive everything. Because you dare to believe.
My dear friends, today I want to speak with you about something most marvelous, most powerful, and yet so astonishingly simple that the world overlooks it every day. It is this: act as if you always come out well. Let those words become not just a belief, not just a mantra, but a way of being, a law unto your life. You see, all things exist in imagination. That which you call real, that which you call physical, is but a shadow cast by a deeper reality, your inner state. There is no power outside of your own wonderful human imagination. When you begin to act as if you always come out well, you are not lying to yourself. You are aligning with the eternal truth of being. You are assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And by law, it must harden into fact. Let no man tell you that you must struggle and strive endlessly to make your dreams come true. It is not by toil, but by assumption, that the world is transformed. It is not by begging life for mercy, but by boldly accepting the end, that you bring about its manifestation. And the end you must assume, the mood you must clothe yourself in, is the certainty that you always come out well. Not sometimes, not when the conditions are right, not when luck happens to smile upon you. No, always. When you walk into a room, walk in with the awareness that you are favored. When you speak, speak with the confidence that all outcomes bend to your highest good. When you face what the world calls adversity, smile inwardly with the assurance that this too will resolve in your favor. Because when you assume the end, the means will unfold, always. You may say to me, "But Neville, I have tried before. I have assumed good, and it did not come." And I say to you, did you really persist in the assumption? Did you dwell in it day and night? Or did you let the senses pull you away, seduce you back into fear and doubt? For your senses will lie to you. Your senses will scream, "Look at what is. Look at the facts." But you are not to worship the facts. You are to command them. You are the operant power. Nothing appears in your world, except by the permission of your inner speech, your inner images, your sustained mood. So then, if you are always coming out well, you must saturate your mind with that assumption, not just once, but again and again, until it becomes the atmosphere in which you breathe. You must walk the earth like one who knows a secret, because you do. The secret is that your imagination creates reality, that what you feel to be true becomes true, and that if you act in the conviction that you always come out well, the universe will bend backward to fulfill it. Imagine this: you have a challenge before you, a job interview, a difficult conversation, an opportunity that feels risky. What do most people do? They fret, they worry, they play out worst-case scenarios in their minds, and then they act out of that fear. And then they say, "See, I knew it wouldn't work." But what if, just what if, you approached every situation with this knowing? It doesn't matter what it looks like now. I always come out well. You begin to smile, not from arrogance, but from divine confidence. You begin to relax, not from passivity, but from trust in the law. You begin to move, not out of desperation, but from inspired action. And that vibration, that tone, calls forth the very outcomes you desire, not because the world changed first, but because you did. Your reactions create your reality. Your self-concept is your fate. And the most powerful concept you can adopt is that you are one for whom life always works out, that things are always happening for you, that behind every appearance is a blessing in disguise, waiting to unfold. The question is never, how will it happen? The question is only, can I feel it real? Can I act from the end, even when the middle seems uncertain? And the answer must be yes, because the middle is not your concern. Leave the how to God. Your part is the assumption, not the construction. You assume it is so, and it becomes so. Let me tell you something deeply profound. When you act as if you always come out well, you are not pretending. You are prophesying. You are stepping into alignment with your higher self, your God self, who knows no limitation, no defeat, no failure. And from that awareness, everything you touch must prosper. You are not here to survive. You are here to thrive. You are not here to barely make it through. You are here to master your reality. And mastery begins with identity. If you want to change the events of your life, change the assumptions that lie beneath them. Begin to see yourself as lucky, as guided, as chosen. Say within yourself, everything is always working in my favor. I am the blessed one. Doors open for me. Opportunities find me. I am always at the right place, at the right time. I always come out well. Do not wait for the world to give you proof. Be the proof. Walk like it, talk like it, think like it, feel like it. For feeling is the secret. And the world, which is nothing more than yourself, pushed out, must mirror back that which you most consistently feel. Perhaps someone will say, but Neville, what if things are going terribly? What if I am sick, broke, rejected, abandoned? And I say that is when the assumption matters most. That is when your faith is tested. For what credit is it to believe when all is well? True power is demonstrated when you persist in belief, in spite of appearances. Do you not remember the words of Scripture? Call those things which be not as though they were. That is not poetry. That is instruction. You are to claim, assume, feel, and act from that which you desire, as if it were already done, because it is done in imagination, the only true reality. When you dwell in that state of one who always comes out well, you become untouchable by fear. You are no longer reacting to life, but directing it. Your mood becomes your command. Your expectation becomes your evidence. And slowly or suddenly, all the facts rearrange themselves to conform to your assumption. There is no greater illusion than the idea that you are at the mercy of circumstances. That is bondage. That is ignorance. You are not here to observe reality. You are here to create it. And you do so by your inner world. The most powerful thing you can do is choose to feel now what you want to experience later. If you want peace, feel peace now. If you want wealth, feel the freedom of wealth now. If you want love, feel cherished now. And above all, if you want consistent victory in life, act as if you always come out well. Try it. Not just once, not just for a moment, but for a week, a month, a year. Make it your way of life. Let it become the very rhythm of your soul. Wake up and declare it. Walk and embody it. Fall asleep with it on your tongue, and you will begin to notice strange things, that people treat you better, that opportunities arise out of nowhere, that problems resolve themselves with grace, not because the world changed, but because you did. You believed differently, and that belief became flesh. The world is yourself pushed out. There is no one to change but self. And when you change your self-concept to that of a person who always comes out well, the world cannot help but reflect it back. The job you thought you lost leads to a better one. The person who left makes way for someone more aligned. The door that closed reveals the open window behind it. I do not ask you to figure it out. I only ask you to believe, to assume, to persist. And if you will not give up the assumption, if you will cling to the end, then I promise you the means will come. They may come subtly, like whispers from the wind, or suddenly like lightning in the night, but they will come. There is no power outside of your wonderful human imagination. And when you dare to imagine boldly, to feel deeply, to assume consistently. You will see miracles. You will live in the grace of certainty, knowing that all things work together for your good, that nothing is ever lost, that you are not a victim, but a creator. So let this become your prayer, your affirmation, your declaration. I am one who always comes out well. My life is guided. My steps are ordered. My mind is clear. My heart is strong. No matter what happens, it turns to my benefit. I am chosen. I am protected. I am favored. I always come out well. Say it until it becomes your new truth. Say it until it silences the voice of doubt. Say it until the world echoes it back in every event, every meeting, every outcome. For that is the law. According to your faith, be it unto you. So I leave you now with this simple invitation, not to wait for things to improve before you feel good, but to feel good now, because things are already improving. Not to hope for a better life, but to live from the end, where the better life is already yours. And the end, my friend, is this: you always come out well, no matter what. You always come out well, because you have made it so in your imagination. That is where the script was rewritten. That is where the plot turned in your favor. That is where the seed of your new life was planted. And if you will hold to that vision, not wavering, not doubting, not questioning, then nothing on this earth can stop it from coming into full bloom. It will not matter what the headlines say, what your bank account shows, or what others think, for you will have withdrawn your attention from the facts and fastened it to the truth, that you are the operant power, that the world cannot help but bend to your assumption, because there is no other creative force, there is no outer reality that isn't first an inner conception made visible. And so you walk in faith, not blind, passive faith, but bold, living faith, a faith that knows, a faith that acts. Every step you take becomes guided. Every word you speak begins to carry the frequency of success. Every situation, no matter how chaotic, begins to reorganize itself around your dominant belief. It is as if the entire world is conspiring to prove you right, because it is. You have commanded it so. This is why it is said, to him that hath it shall be given. When you have the feeling, the state, the conviction, then more of it is added. The rich get richer, not because of some cruel rule, but because their inner world is saturated with abundance. The loved are loved more deeply, because they have assumed themselves to be lovable. And the victorious, those who always come out well, experience victory after victory, because they refuse to live any other way. It is not arrogance, it is alignment. You are not trying to deceive yourself. You are revealing your true self, the self that has never been separate from the infinite. You are no longer waiting for conditions to change. You are becoming the cause, the source, the center of your reality. You are stepping into the only place real transformation begins, within. So when you wake in the morning, do not ask what the day will bring. Declare what it must bring. Say to yourself, this day is already blessed. This day is already plotted solutions. This day ends in my favor, because I always come out well. Say it when you rise. Say it when you eat. Say it when you walk. And say it most especially when the outer world appears to contradict it, because in those moments the test is strongest, and so is the reward. The longer you persist in the new assumption, the sooner you will find the old world dissolving. Like fog in the morning sun, what once felt like problems begin to evaporate, not because they were fixed, but because they were replaced by a new vision, a new concept of self. That is the key. It is not the world that changes, it is you. And your world reflects that inner transformation perfectly, precisely, without fail. It may seem slow at first, like a trickle, a small synchronicity here, a kind word there. But let not your heart be discouraged, for that is the movement. That is the sign that the wheel is turning. The momentum is gathering, and soon it will break through like a flood. You must be ready for it. You must be prepared not just to receive, but to sustain the life of one who always comes out well. You must begin to think from that person's point of view. How does he walk? How does he speak? What does he expect? What does she allow herself to receive? You don't get what you want. You get what you are. And when you are someone who expects things to go well, not just now and then, but always, you begin to radiate a power that reorganizes the entire field around you. You no longer chase. Things are drawn to you. You no longer force. You align. You no longer wish. You know in that knowing. You rest. You do not worry.
You do not ask when will it happen, for one who knows he always comes out well does not ask if he knows it is already done. The outer may take time to reflect it, but the inner is settled, and what is settled within must become fact without. This is not theory, this is law. The world will say, be realistic, but I say to you, be imaginative, for the realistic man accepts what is. The imaginative man creates what shall be. He walks in the unseen, and therefore he brings the unseen into form. And the most powerful form he holds is this, that he is blessed, guided, chosen, and unstoppable. Even when rejected, he knows better is coming. Even when something appears lost, he knows it is making space for the greater.
Even when the plan fails, he knows that something more perfect is being assembled, because he has decided once and for all that he always comes out well, and so he moves through life, not rushing, not doubting, not reacting, but radiating. He is no longer the one who tries to make life happen. He is the one through whom life flows. He sees signs where others see setbacks. He finds miracles in the mundane, and he gives thanks constantly, abundantly, joyfully, not just when things go his way, but because he knows they always will. You too must adopt this attitude. You too must walk in this state, for it is available to all, but claimed by few. It does not require status or wealth or connections. It only requires belief, assumption, and the discipline to persist. You must carry yourself as one for whom the end is assured, not because the world told you so, but because your soul declared it, because you have communed with the deeper self, the God within, and heard the quiet, powerful voice say, all is well. You are safe, you are chosen, you are victorious. That voice is always speaking. The question is, will you listen? And once you hear it, will you believe it? And once you believe it, will you live it? Let that be your decision today. Not to wait, not to hope, but to be, to embody the end now, to walk as one for whom it is already done. And then watch as your world catches up, inevitably, irresistibly, beautifully, because you dared to believe that you always come out well. Let this belief soak into your bones until it no longer feels like a thought, but a knowing. Let it settle into your breath so deeply that it influences your tone, your pace, your posture. Because when the mind is truly convinced, the body cannot help but follow. And when the body follows, the world responds. It cannot do otherwise. For the outer world is not your master, it is your mirror. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to convince others of your worthiness. You don't need their permission, approval, or applause. The moment you accept that you always come out well, you are no longer bound by appearances or external validation. You live above it, not in ego, but in truth. Because your truth is that you are not here to struggle endlessly. You are here to remember who you are. Who are you? You are imagination. You are spirit clothed in flesh. You are the power that shapes reality through feeling and conviction. You are the operant power. And once you know that, nothing outside you can ever defeat you. Not truly. You might experience setbacks, delays, redirections, but never defeat. For even what appears as a fall is a setup for the rise. Even what seems like the end is only the clearing for a better beginning. Hold that image of yourself, not the old self bound by fear, doubt, or limitation, but the radiant, triumphant self that walks this earth, knowing he is always coming out on top. Speak to yourself in that tone. Treat yourself with that love. Think thoughts that match that destiny. If doubt arises, do not fight it. Simply return to your inner vision. Let it become so rich, so vivid, so real within that it outshines the facts. Say to yourself, this moment is not the end. I know who I am. I know what I've assumed. And because I've assumed the best must come to pass. Others may try to explain their failures by telling you that life is hard, that things go wrong, that people betray you, that dreams fade. Smile gently at them, not from judgment, but from knowing that none of those things need be true for you. You've chosen a new story, a better one, a higher one, and you will no longer accept the false comfort of shared limitations. You will walk in power, quietly, calmly, steadily. You will no longer need to announce your worth. Your presence will speak it. You will no longer chase what is yours will arrive. You will no longer wrestle with life, because you have found the higher law, the law of assumption. The law that responds not to effort, but to embodiment. Not to struggle, but to state. Your chosen state, your sacred inner place, is this. I always come out well. It becomes the foundation of your every decision. It governs how you show up. It colors your expectations, your mood, your results. You become a magnet for success, not because you're trying harder, but because you're feeling deeper. You are no longer trying to create a better world, you are revealing it. You are revealing what has always been true, that you are blessed, that you are supported, that you are aligned with a benevolent force that bends reality to match your inner conviction. If ever you forget, simply close your eyes. Return to the silence within. See yourself again, victorious, smiling, peaceful, having already received the thing you once hoped for. Feel it real. Breathe it in. Rest in it. That inner state will do more for you than any amount of outer action. You may take action, of course, but only inspired action, not desperate action, not action rooted in fear or lack. Action that flows from the knowing, it is already mine. That kind of movement is effortless. It is guided. It is joyful. And it bears fruit, because it springs from the vine of truth. Do not ask, what if I fail? Ask instead, what would it feel like if I already succeeded? And live from that. Let that question guide your tone, your walk, your thoughts. Let that assumption become your atmosphere. You see, you are not becoming lucky. You are realizing that you've always been. You are not waiting for your life to improve. You are stepping into the identity of one whose life is already wonderful, because you've decided it is so. The universe has no choice but to mirror it back. It is law. Every time you affirm, I always come out well, you are not begging the world to be kind. You are commanding the universe to reflect your inner reality. You are stating a fact from the mountaintop of consciousness. You are aligning with the version of yourself who already has the answers, already walks in power, already dwells in fulfillment. That version of you, that highest self, is not far away. It is not something to be earned. It is something to be remembered, to be accepted, to be embraced right now. You don't need to climb to reach it. You only need to drop everything that says you're not worthy of it. Every limiting thought, every tired story, every false identity, let them go. They were never you. They were borrowed garments. And now it is time to take them off. Put on the new man. Put on the assumption. Wear the feeling like a second skin. And don't take it off. Not when it's hard, not when it's slow, not when the world doesn't believe you. Keep wearing it. Keep being it. Because in time your assumption will become your evidence. Your faith will become your fact. And your inner vision will become the life you live in. So move forward now, not as the one who tries, but as the one who knows. Not as the one who waits, but as the one who claims. Not as the one who reacts, but as the one who creates. You always come out well. Not because you're lucky, not because you're better, but because you've assumed it. And the law can never fail. Even when the outer world seems to tremble, when the ground beneath you shakes, you do not collapse into fear. You rise into remembrance. You remind yourself that storms are merely shadows cast by a fading reality, dissolving as your new assumption takes hold. You say, this too is working in my favor. And in doing so you transmute every experience. Yes, every experience, into something golden. You become the alchemist of your own life. You no longer identify with setbacks, because setbacks are just scenery along the path to certainty. You no longer collapse when something doesn't go as planned, because you understand the plan isn't in the outer. The plan is in the assumption. And the assumption that you always come out well guarantees that no detour can keep you from your desired destination. People may ask you how you remain so calm. They may wonder how you always seem to land on your feet. But they will not see the secret. They will not see the inner sanctuary you have built with thought and feeling and unwavering belief. They won't know that you walk in a world that begins and ends inside your imagination. And that's perfectly fine. This power isn't meant to be shouted. It's meant to be lived. It's in the way you carry yourself. It's in the quiet confidence you bring into every room. It's in the peace you emanate when others panic. And most of all, it's in your consistency. The unshakable persistence to dwell in the end you desire, not just once, not just when it's easy, but always. You see, the universe does not respond to need. It responds to state. You may cry out for a change, you may beg, you may plead. But if within you are still vibrating in fear or doubt, the outer will echo that back. But the moment you shift into knowing, into being the one who already has, who already is, who already overcame, that moment is sacred. It is creative. It is transformational. You are no longer hoping that life will treat you kindly. You have assumed that life is already on your side. And so the universe, compelled by your inner command, rearranges its forces to comply. People, events, circumstances all begin to bend toward your belief. It may appear subtle at first, but keep going. Do not be moved by appearances. Be moved only by the inner conviction that you always come out well. This is not about faking it until you make it. This is about being it until it becomes visible. Holding to the state, no matter what. Resting in the assumption when others doubt you. Persisting when others retreat. Repeating the inner claim. I always come out well. Until the walls of your old beliefs come crumbling down. And they will. They must. Because no matter how long you've lived under the illusion of powerlessness, the truth is stronger. And once you allow it in, once you embrace the real you, the creative, powerful, limitless you, then the old limitations cannot survive. They may resist. They may whisper doubts. But you are no longer interested in that voice. You have chosen the voice of power, the voice of truth, the voice of your future self calling you into alignment. And so you move through the world differently. You notice things you didn't before, signs, synchronicities, sudden clarity. What once felt like coincidence now feels like confirmation. You're not just imagining, you're remembering. Remembering that you were always meant to thrive. That life was never against you, it was always responding to you. And now that your signal has changed, so too must the outcome. Even in chaos, you find calm. Even in delay, you find peace. Because you are no longer ruled by the visible. You are guided by the invisible. You are grounded in the eternal law that what you assume to be true, if persisted in, must harden into fact. So you stay faithful. Not to what the world shows you, but to what your soul knows. You honor the unseen. You trust the inner whisper. You walk by assumption, not by sight. And day by day, moment by moment, that assumption becomes a felt reality. You don't have to know how. That's not your job. Your job is to be it, to dwell in the feeling of it, to live as if it's already true. The how will unfold in ways more creative than you can imagine. And when it does, you'll smile. Not in surprise, but in certainty. Because deep down you knew. You always knew. This is why no matter what happens, you hold the line. You speak the truth. Even in the silence of your mind. I always come out well. Not because of who your parents were. Not because of what your bank account says. Not because of what society has taught. But because you have aligned with the infinite intelligence that responds to your assumption, not your history. And that makes you free. Free from circumstance. Free from the past. Free from fear. You become one with the truth that God in you as you is always greater than anything outside you. That the I am in you is the only cause of your reality. And that when you align with that I am, when you say I am one who always comes out well, the world obeys. Not because you demanded it, but because you believed it. Belief is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. So hold the belief. Nurture it. Return to it every time the outer world tries to distract you. Say it to yourself when you wake. Whisper it to yourself when you fall asleep. Live in it as your natural state, not something you try to remember, but something you can't forget. It becomes your identity. And your identity, once fully assumed, becomes your destiny. And so I leave you with this truth etched deeply in your soul. The world bends not to effort, but to assumption. Your life is not the sum of your past, but the product of your persistent belief. The moment you decide, truly decide, that you always come out well, the universe responds with unwavering obedience. No storm can shake you. No delay can deny you. No opposition can undo what your inner world has already claimed. Because you walk in the knowing that you are not hoping, not wishing, you are being. Be the one who rises in the face of doubt. Be the one who sees beauty where others see chaos. Be the one who walks with quiet power, because they've remembered the truth. You are the operant power. You always have been. And now that you've accepted it, you always come out well. That is not a hope. That is a law. So live it, speak it, embody it, and watch the world bow to the power of your assumption.